Bruins ownership wants us to cut management some slack. But should we? Some players sing management's praise, but all players are expecting some big changes this offseason. Korpisalo doesn't feel appreciated, and all signs point to a separation there. All of this and more as I cover all the conversations surrounding locker cleanout day in Boston. So buckle up, Bruins fans. I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. If you've been liking my Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you've already done so, thank you, and let's get into it. As he did in 2016 when the Bruins failed to make the playoffs, Charlie Jacobs penned a letter to the fan base to reassure them that ownership wants a winner, and I want to read a bit of it to you because some of, not all, is a lot of PR spin. The part I wanted to read goes like this. Over the past decade, hockey operations, on-ice talent, hard work, and commitment brought the Bruins hockey to a level of success we are proud of. But we're not satisfied. Our goal of winning another Stanley Cup remains unchanged. It's clear that we have a lot of work to do, and that work is already underway. Despite how difficult it's been to say goodbye to some of our most beloved Bruins this season, these decisions were rooted in the best interest of the future of the franchise. Together with our hockey operations leaders, we are actively preparing for the NHL draft and anticipate a top-tier selection with more draft capital in hand than we've had in recent years. We are also eager to bolster our roster through free agency and open the door for some of the young prospects to make the next steps in their development. There is only one way forward from here. Expectations and accountability are higher than ever. All of this tells me he is 100% behind Don Sweeney and Cam Neely to right the ship, whether we feel that way or not. He is acknowledging that a big change is coming, and is why they traded the likes of Brad Marchand, Charlie Coyle, and Brandon Carlo, who were a huge part of the leadership group of the Boston Bruins. I did find it interesting, though, that they mentioned allowing young players to take the next step, because the past, it hasn't really been that case. I think development of their young talent has lacked in the past, and the decisions they make sometimes surrounding those players are puzzling. The Bruins organization spends a lot of time asking players to be two-way Patrice Bergeron players. Bergeron is a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and players of his skill set don't grow on trees, and not every player can be that. When they draft players, they know what type of player they are, and my hope in the future is they allow that player to, yes, learn the defensive side of the game, because it's very important, but also don't lose sight of who that player is and try and make them into something they're not, and then trade him away. Craig Vetrano is a perfect example of a skilled player they tried to turn into a bottom six grinder and move him because he didn't fit their mold. Since leaving Boston, Vetrano has 4 20-goal seasons, and one season he scored 37 goals. For a team that is always lacking secondary scoring, they need to keep these players and adapt to the game because they can't forecheck teams to death and expect to win anymore. Charlie Jacobs, though, he didn't stop there, as he had an interview with Boston Globe's Jim McBride, saying, "While I understand the criticism of some of the fan base and media, Jacobs pointed to the success last decade, including a Stanley Cup final appearance and record-setting regular season 22-23, when he said, 'It's hard for me to wrap my head around why people call for Neely and Sweeney's heads.' He continued to say, 'When I think of a rebuild, I think of somebody sort of hitting their proverbial Looney Tunes TNT plunger. Let's blow this up and start over. I don't think we're there,' Jacobs told McBride. 'I think we're in a place where we need to build and, to use Don's term specifically, to retool to make this more competitive for next year and for years to come.' Honestly, he can't say he understands the criticism and then follow it up with can't wrap his head around it. I appreciate Jacobs' loyalty, but maybe the loyalty is clouding his judgment. There's no doubt they have some success, but they've also made some poor decisions and have had issues developing young talent. Having a record-setting regular season only to have one of the biggest collapses in playoff history in the first round isn't something to brag about, but I guess he didn't because he neglected to mention what happened in the first round. It was the same management group that fired Bruce Cassidy only to watch him hoist the Stanley Cup during that record-setting season. Montgomery did a fine job, but even he admitted all he did was open the door that year and let the inmates run the asylum. And in all fairness to Montgomery, why wouldn't he be that way though? Because the previous coach was fired by Neely because he hurt a couple players' feelings, so I can't see Montgomery ruffling any feathers while he was there. None of that was a smart decision, but that wasn't the GM. That was the president, Cam Neely, that made those calls. That same playoff, we saw Ullmark struggle early on and was visibly playing with an injury after Game 3, and nothing was done about it until it was too late. And then they throw Swayman in for Game 7 and think that that's okay. A lot of decisions in Boston are done by committee. Whether that's right or wrong, that's how it's done. So there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen. It was Montgomery's first year, so I would wager he leaned on goalie Bob, and collectively they made the wrong call, and the Bruins lost. The Bruins had no business losing in the first round, and frankly, Cam should have lost his job that summer. But again, Charlie Jacobs is loyal. I think Montgomery asked for a lot more money than what he got in St. Louis to stay in Boston because of the stress and making decisions by committee. Don't kid yourself, they may say that Montgomery was fired, but it was obvious he didn't want to be in Boston anymore. My hope is at the draft this year, we see something different and the Bruins don't go off the board and select another bottom 6 player and the organization truly wants to change. If they have another disappointing season, I hope Charlie Jacobs isn't bringing up the past failures again as examples of good things to justify not going in a different direction with the front office. I want to hear from you, though. Tell me about your thoughts on what Charlie Jacobs said and if you think the Bruins will in fact change as an organization next season. I want to get into what the players said because I felt two of them were very telling because Joonas Korpisalo and Nikita Zadorov had very different vibes to their conversation. Korpisalo showed his frustration from the season, which obviously wasn't the best for the Boston Bruins. In 27 games, the 30-year-old sported a 11-10-3 record, a 2.90 goals against average, and an .893 save percentage, and a career-high 3 shutouts. Now, I've made it no secret that I don't think either goalie played particularly well this season. Korpisalo did have a good November and didn't seem to be rewarded with many more starts. I think Korpisalo felt a little slighted by the Bruins coaching staff and said this: "I don't think there are any goalies in the league who are comfortable playing 20 to 25 games. I'm going to push for more games for sure." Now, from Korpisalo's perspective, I get it. He has seen the Bruins for almost a decade now, regardless of who they have as their goalies, do more of a tandem than letting one goalie take the majority of the starts. You have to go all the way back to 2016-17 to find a year where the Bruins gave as many starts to one goalie as they did Swayman this season. Swayman started 58 games this year. In 2016-2017, Tuukka Rask started 64. In 2016-17, this is the year the Bruins lost in the first round to Ottawa, and Rask looked exhausted by the end. And it wasn't just because the Bruins decided to let Erik Karlsson own them. That was the beginning of the end for the goalies on the Bruins having such a big workload, and yet, for some reason, they went back to that this year, and shocker, they didn't make the playoffs. Which leads me to understand Korpisalo's frustration, which also means he was told differently when he came to the Bruins via trade. His expectations obviously didn't match the outcome to the season. Now, do I think he was expecting to split the net? No, but I think he was expecting at least 30 starts or more to the season, and frankly, he earned that in November. He almost went a full month between starts at the end of the season, which tells me they don't have much faith in him, and that says a lot considering how badly Swayman played most of this season. If I had to wager a guess, I think the Bruins will be shopping Korpisalo this offseason and looking to either find a replacement via trade, free agency, or let one of the other two goalies from Providence take that spot. They've got to sign those two guys. One thing for sure, for me, I hope they don't try and run Swayman into the ground again like they did this year. Do you think they move on from Korpisalo? And do you think the goalies in Providence are ready for the challenge? Next, I want to touch on what Nikita Zadorov said to the media in his exit scrum because I found it very telling. It was evident to me that before he spoke to the media, he spoke to management, and they were given reassurance that not making the playoffs was not the plan and that the team is not in for a rebuild. Have a listen.
Well, we can control what we can control. I mean, I'm personally, I want to get better every day. You know, I have a long summer ahead of me. I'm going to come in as the better hockey player, better leader, better shape, physically better and everything. So I'm going to improve for sure, and so does every other guy on this team. You know, it's a big summer for us. Obviously, it's not where Boston Bruins wants to be. Boston Bruins wants to be in the playoffs every year, compete for Stanley Cup. So I think that's the main goal for us. And obviously, there's a lot of talk. There's today and. We're going to get together with the leadership group and everything over the summer and talk it out, what we need to do, how we need to pull guys in, and then what we need to do to be successful next year. So I think it's definitely too early to answer that question, I would say.
Management has said accountability is going to be higher than ever. Does that give you, a positive outlook for the summer as far as bringing new people in?
I mean, that's what we expect. It's Boston Bruins. It's a team with the 100 years history. It's a Original Six team. It's an unbelievable organization. That's what our fans expecting for us. So I think that's great.
As a new player this year, do you feel like there was any levels of leadership that you weren't able to shoulder or show this year, or do you feel like there's more you can give from a leadership perspective? Did you feel comfortable, being the leader that you want to be from very early on, even though it was a new team?
Well, you gotta understand that the stuff you guys as the journalists see, it's 10%. Yeah. So there's a lot of behind closed doors. There's a lot of stay in the room leadership. Obviously, nobody wants to brag about that. Some people have it natural, some people don't. And I mean, I hope I was doing good, and I hope I was doing my part. Obviously, like I said, because we didn't make playoffs, so there's no. You can't sit at home and say I did everything I can. Probably not, because that's where we at. So I think. There's definitely room for improvement, and there's definitely a role for me to grow as the person, as the leader, and be better next year as well.
Nikita, when you signed here last year, you mentioned culture, consistency, leadership was the reason why you wanted to be Bruin. That all came into question at different points this season. What should free agents who are on the market this summer, why would they want to come here?
Well,
should they want to come here?
Why would they not want to come here? I mean, it's a original 6 team. It's a great city to play in. We have one of the best players in the world. We have one of the best goal in the world. We have 2 really good D-men who were out pretty much for a whole year. You know, we have all the pieces for future. We just need to add it up. We have a breakout player of the year probably. So, I mean, it's great organization, great management, great leadership up top. You know, we have a great president, great general manager. They're willing to do anything to win, and that was a clear message today. So I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting summer, and it's going to be exciting for us to see our new teammates, whoever's going to come and join us.
What verbalized that to you? You said
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, what are they going to be wasting past those years? Or, I mean, I don't have many years left. Lindy doesn't have both Lindys, C-Max, so it's like, obviously, it's a win or nothing in here for sure.
I will admit, after the trade deadline, I saw a huge leadership swing from Nikita Zadorov. And I was impressed. He was poised, calm, spoke his mind, and you could see him leading on the ice. Sounds crazy, but he looked like a better player on the ice after the trade deadline. Like most of the guys who spoke in the exit interviews, he mentioned the leadership group in the clip, which is something Boston has had in place for years. I would think the group would be in no particular order: David Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy, Hampus Lindholm, maybe even Elias Lindholm, Jeremy Swayman, and Nikita Zadorov. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that conversation they have this summer. I would think they will set a new tone in the room and take control of the team, and we'll see a very different Bruins team. We will still have Pastrnak and McAvoy, who learned from Chara and Bergeron, but we'll have a mix of new leadership that could add a different perspective. I was honestly taken a little back as his candidness when mentioning the team isn't going to waste Pastrnak in his prime, because you don't hear that from players too often. I'm sure that this is the message the players got from management, but it's rare for the players to express that to the media. I, for one, see no issue with it, but I did see some on social media think he was out of line. Zadorov changed my mind this season because I had some high expectations, but his season started off so badly. But his second half, he settled in. When he spoke about the core of the team and how good he thinks they are, told me we will see a different player off and on the ice next season. If this is the direction the team is going this offseason, we will have less drama and more excitement than last offseason. We need to get Geekie signed right away, and Geekie did say he wants to be in Boston, so that's a start. We did finally get an update on Hampus Lindholm, and we can all breathe a little bit easier because, yes, he did have some setbacks, but he's progressing well and will be back next season.
It's a process to get back, and it's that's what I've been focusing on, the stuff that I can actually control.
it looked like for a while that you were close to coming back. What happened to change that?
Yeah, it's so I had some luck within the bad luck when I got my fracture on my knee. Like, everything kind of stayed intact, so there's no long-term worries for my injury, and that kind of maybe led to coming back a little too early, pushing a little too hard on the ice a little too early, which kind of made me take some step backs, and had to go in and reassess it and take out like a little piece that was kind of bugging me from kind of coming back a little too early, and frustrating because I want to be out there and helping the team, but it's like that was what the team and decided, and the doctors and me, for what was best for the long term, because with the injury we knew that I was going to heal fully and be back, but that made the setback be like I couldn't play the rest of the year with the timing of it. So that's obviously was very frustrating, but all I can control is getting back to my full self, and I know I will, so just taking it day by day and taking those steps, and I'm back in the gym working out, doing full body stuff already, and gonna start skating here. I think we're mid-May. So.
Honestly, it's great news because I was worried when I saw him on the ice a couple months ago and then never again. But at least we know why now. He's so crucial to the Bruins power play, and with both him and McAvoy back next year, the back end will be a whole lot better. McAvoy spoke to the media, and I felt besides at the end where he wanted to explain how he felt about the Four Nations, he mapped out what the offseason will look like for that leadership core.
Just your thoughts on the season and your motivation going into the summer.
Yeah, not a great year, really, by any stretch. There were certainly some pockets of, some good memories, I guess, but overall, really a year to forget, with an unfortunate ending on my side. There really isn't much. Honestly, it's all just motivation, really. To not feel like this again. Never been here, and I don't want to be here again. So that's kind of where we're at. Obviously, the struggles I had this year, they're well known. I wasn't was unfortunate. But I'm excited to put a close on this chapter, be done with it, honestly, just to get it behind me and then move on from here.
What does your off season look like as far as training, stuff you would normally do in the injury? Like, are you clear to do whatever you want? Is it going to take a little while to get there? Or how's it
No, we weren't cleared yet, but we were getting there, and I'm in a good spot, a really good spot now, or at least I will be. So I have no restrictions this summer. I have no limitations on anything, which allows me to have a big summer, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, every year we make the playoffs, and this year we didn't. So I have a different off season. I have a 4.5 month off season, whatever the time is, and I feel a little bit like I could, I can achieve a lot more. I can do a lot more. I can have a much more productive summer than the usual, 2 months to try and get everything done. So that's the silver lining I'm taking from this, is that I got a lot of things I want to work on and a lot of things I want to achieve every summer that sometimes you can't get around to doing it all. This summer I can.
Would you consider playing Worlds if you were asked?
No.
Charlie, does everything...
I'm not cleared, so I couldn't.
I thought you said you were.
I couldn't if I wanted to.
Does everything on the ice and your recovery from this, but how do you approach, probably together with David, trying to mold this team into what you guys want it to be going forward?
Yeah, I mean, that starts very quickly after this, getting together and establishing what we want, what our pillars are going to look like, what we want the culture to get back to, and how we're going to do it. What an opportunity, right? What an exciting challenge that's going to be for us. Not just us, but a few other guys, and we're going to take it on just head on. I mean, we're going to do everything that we can. You can't do it by yourself. We're going to do it together, and but we're really excited about the opportunity and the challenge, what it presents, and how we can be a part of the solution. Yeah, well, there's immediately that's Pasta, Hampus, and myself. And then after that, we have a lot of guys that I think can be leaders on this team. And we're going to need every one of them to do that, to want to do that, to want to be a part of it, to see the vision in it, and to help us establish what it's going to be, what the pillars look like, and how we're going to do it. And like I said, it's going to start pretty as early as next week, really, to start to lay some groundwork, or at least start some dialogue between us and upstairs, and how we want to do it. And we will do it. Like I said, what an opportunity, what an exciting challenge for us to be the people that will get it back to where it needs to be. Like, that's how I'm seeing it. I think we're all looking at it the same, but it's not going to be easy. But it can be done.
When you look back now on the Four Nations, are you still able to look at it as the positive experience, like the experience that you had there is all positive? Is it like mixed now just because of the way it ended?
Mentally, emotionally, physically, I've gone through so much because of that damn experience.
Yeah.
Like, it cost me my season. It cost me my sanity in a lot of ways. Like, none of this has been easy, and I get emotional and I talk about it. And like, look, yeah, it was an incredible experience, and I waited my whole life to be a part of something like that. But the way that it ended and the aftermath of it and what I had to go through, it cost me a lot more than I was willing to give. And that's unfortunate. But it's over now. And now I can finally put it to bed, and after we talk about it, I don't want to talk about it ever again, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it cost me a lot.
And you're obviously angry about that.
I wouldn't
That's how it sounds.
I feel a lot about every emotion you can have. I'm not angry at I'm not at anyone individual. I'm angry at what happened. I'm sad about what happened. A little bit of the why me,
Yep.
like as I'm sure anyone would ask with what happened.
Of course.
So it's a lot of different emotions. I wouldn't say it's just angry, and I'm certainly not angry at individuals or anything. It's a little bit of just anger about the situation. It cost me my season. It cost me a lot, and I've spent a lot of time emotionally just sitting with it because of that was the reality of it. I'm sitting at home with a pick line and this and that, and I can't play and I can't help my team, and it's what I said, like it felt like it was a whole nother season. Like going back, like I don't even remember anything before that, honestly, because I only remember what the last two months have felt like, and it just hasn't been fun.
From watching it, he mentioned that Hampus and himself will be there to support Pastrnak next season, as Pastrnak has become more vocal as a leader on and off the ice after the trade deadline. I'm not going to say Pastrnak is the captain for sure. He'd be my pick if that's who I'm going to have to wager a guess, but it seems that he's McAvoy's pick. It was interesting to hear him say he doesn't want to blame one individual about what happened during the Four Nations and how much loss he suffered because of it. My hope is he uses that as motivation for next season, because it's obvious he won't be playing in the World Championships because, as he said, he just can't. Pasternak's interview was a lot different than we're used to, as he's usually the jokester of the team and always trying to make light of
Yeah, I mean, obviously tough. Neither of us want to be standing here right now. It's a little early, but yeah, a little, tough year overall. Obviously, your goal is to play in the playoffs, and that's not the case this year. So use it as a motivation to get better, and already can't wait to start preparing myself for next season.
Everyone's been complimenting you and how you've just stepped up since the leadership was kind of traded away, and also it's difficult to do it any time when it kind of comes on you like that, but then obviously with a struggling team as well. Is this a role that you're going to enjoy in the future? Do you feel like it kind of sprung on you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident enough, obviously be one of the leaders and lead the team. Obviously we have a lot to do as a core of the leaders. Unfortunately, a couple of them were injured, like Hampus and Charlie was injured for a long time. So obviously those are two big key of our core that you kind of missed on and off the ice. Yeah, definitely. How I said, it's been tough, but I'm confident enough, because like I said, the finish the season, missing those two guys, did my best, and obviously, moving forward, like I said, still have a good group of core, and we obviously have a lot of work to do ahead, and we will put the time in together, and make sure we come and be much better Boston Bruins team next year.
Would you like to wear the C?
Listen, it's like I said, like the leaders I had around me, it was never about who wears the C or who wears the A. Everybody in the room is equal here, and we need to make sure that that's one of the things that we have to find a group of the core again that's willing to put the work in, and like I said, it's not about one guy. It's going to be multiple of us, and we need to be working together, and like I said, doesn't matter who's going to end up wearing any leather, but it starts in a group. Everybody's equal here, no matter if you're young, older, and that's what always been like, and we have to keep it going.
Have you decided if you'll play in Worlds?
I think I haven't decided that. I think I will take a week at least, or at least a couple of days. Honestly, thinking about it, it's a possibility I go, but haven't made the final decision yet.
He was way more serious and has been for quite some time this year. And saying he's thinking about going to the Worlds and not outright saying he's going is telling. Last year he went to the Worlds and won, so maybe he just would like a break and spend time with his family and decompress a bit. This was probably his most frustrating season he's ever been through in the NHL. With all the drama, the losing season, and teammates being traded, it can be draining mentally and physically. The last half of the season, he carried the Bruins. And if he wasn't there, their record would have been a lot worse, which is crazy to think about. At the end of the day, Pastrnak sounded more mature and motivated to come back next season, and I think we're going to see a different player next year. I know this wasn't a short video, so those who stuck around to the end, I thank you, but I want to know your thoughts on everything the players said and what I said in this video. That's a wrap on today's video. To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you, and I'll see you next time.